is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA 21-12671. Offices in Baton Rouge.
WNXX, Jackson, KNXX, Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21-12682. Offices in Baton Rouge. Hanny time. Hanny time. A daily look at sports from our resident historian. Your sports break during your lunch break. Now, here's Charles Hannegriff.
What in the Sam Hell was that? Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Charlie. It's Mario. It's Taylor. What in the Sam Hell was that? Watched a lot of football this weekend, okay? Started on Thursday. Got the NFL going. College games on Friday night. All day Saturday. All day Sunday. Wild stuff happened all weekend, right? I mean, we had upsets. We had fantastic fans. It's a great weekend of college and pro football. Lots of surprises. And then we got last night. And what in the Sam Hell was that? If you were on Denver last night, I'm so sorry. If you were on Seattle last night, you feel incredibly lucky. If you were on the over last night, I'm so sorry. If you were on the under last night, you were incredibly lucky. If you didn't watch the game last night, and listen, I'm not going to come in here every Tuesday and go line by line through the Monday Night Football game, but I feel compelled today just to address what was that? If you missed it, okay, the Denver Broncos became the first team in somewhere in the area of 35 years to lose 2 fumbles inside the 1-yard line. Okay, you handed it to a back, the back fumbled. So you handed it to a different back, and the different back fumbled. Okay, bummer. I've never had $250 million in my life. I wish I had. I'd like to think if I had $250 million and there was an employee that was so valuable to me that I spent $250 million on him to do a job, and then I stuck him on a shelf somewhere. I stuck him on a bench. I said, you're so valuable that I want to pay you $250 million to watch a guy kick a football 64 yards. Please tell me in what world this happens. All right, so if you didn't watch the game last night, it was Broncos and Seahawks. The Broncos fumbled twice inside the 1-yard line. They had the football down a point with 4 minutes to go, and Russell Wilson, the $250 million man, at the controls. Raise your hand if you thought that the Broncos were going to win at that point. That's me. Mario, you didn't think that yeah, okay. America thought that the Broncos were going to win at that point. Whether they were going to cover was a whole different kettle of fish. Whether they were going to score a touchdown, go for 2, and cover, that was still in play. But whether they were going to win the game they have a very good field goal kicker in Brandon McManus. Not 64 yards worth of good kicker, but they had a good kicker. At 4 minutes, they had their timeouts. And Nathaniel Hackett, who is the new head coach for the Denver Broncos, for now, new ownership, by the way, the Walmart people, they're going to own the Denver Broncos. I think they're still in the the phase where they're working out the paperwork and paying a bunch of lawyers, but they have bought the team. Walmart West, they have bought the team, and Nathaniel Hackett is the new head coach. And somehow Nathaniel Hackett's strategy was to let the clock run down and put themselves in position to kick a 64-yard field goal, of which Brandon McManus, good a kicker as he is, and half of his games at altitude in Denver, is 1 for 7 on kicks beyond 60 yards. Because kicks beyond 60 yards are really hard to make. They were in a 4th and 5, where last year NFL teams converted 49% of the time. I don't have Jimmy here to do all the complicated math for me, but I know 49% is better than 1 for 7, okay? So they watched the clock run down. They called the timeout to kick a 64-yard field goal, which he missed not once but twice, because on the other sideline they think icing kickers is a good idea. I don't know why coaches think icing kickers is still a good idea. All it does is give the guy time to get out there, get his bearings, get relaxed, and a lot of times make a practice kick. or take a practice kick, which he missed. Then he missed the regular field goal. And I thought, well, ordinarily I'd be going to bed right about now, but this I got to hear. I got to hear the explanation from the new head coach of the Denver Broncos, Nathaniel Hackett. I got to hear his explanation for sitting Russell Wilson and his timeouts over on the bench and sending a kicker out where he's 1 for 7 in his career to kick a 64-yard field goal. And this is what I got.
Hello, y'all. Unfortunate ending there. Just to start off with it, when you're 0-4 in the red zone, 12 penalties, 2 turnovers, it's not a good deal.
Yes,
and I give so much credit
bad,
to the
yes.
Seahawks. I give a ton of credit to our players battling the whole night to be able to put ourselves in position to potentially win a game-winning field goal.
Obligatory credit
with all those things
to people
against us,
that,
I thought those guys did a good job.
I blew this game.
But we just got to be better in that red zone, and that starts with me. I got to be sure we've got a better plan, and we're able to get physical down there and score some touchdowns instead of field goals or nothing at all.
Don't forget to breathe.
No, sir. No. He knew where we had to get. I thought Javonte made an amazing. Why I was expecting to have to go for it on that down and distance because I believe
because you're with the 47-yard line.
3rd and 15. I thought Javonte made an incredible play and put us in the field goal range, the mark that we were looking
You weren't
for.
in field goal range. You were 64 yards away. Don't forget to breathe. Deep breaths.
Yeah, I
Work
mean, we
with me.
didn't execute. We had a false start. We had a walk-in touchdown.
Yeah,
and then
penalties
we
are
ended up having
bad.
a false start, which is unacceptable. You can't have penalties there.
No, penalties are bad.
We had a couple opportunities. I mean, they were there. We just got to capitalize
At the
on
1 yard
them,
line,
and
yeah.
we didn't. And that's what's frustrating in those situations.
Yes, very frustrated. Very, very, very frustrated, I think, if you were rooting for the Denver Broncos last night. Okay, deep breath, everybody. He sounded like a teenager making excuses for why he had missed curfew. Well, you see, we lost track of time, and the car wouldn't start, and there was traffic, and then there was a train, and then a deer ran out in the road. I meant to be here half hour ago. My bad. I don't like to use this phrase too often because it's insulting, and I'm sorry, there's just no other place I can be. There's something called the moment being too big for the guy. Sometimes it's a player, sometimes it's a coach, sometimes it's an official, sometimes it's a general manager. It happens to announcers, okay? You know, sometimes you just and you can't spit it out. The moment is too big for you. You're not breathing. You're not thinking. You just spent $250 million on a quarterback and 8 players. 5 draft choices and 3 players. You sent 8 players to Seattle for this guy. How convenient. You're in Seattle. They're booing the guy. You know, the guy that's going to the Hall of Fame? The guy that's won a Super Bowl, the guy that's been to 9 Pro Bowls, the guy that you should have out there not watching the clock run down. The moment is too big for you. I'll tell you what it reminded me of. We got to know Will Muschamp really well when he was here. I think Will's a good guy, and I think he's a very good defensive coordinator. As a head coach, there were times, especially when he was with Florida, where the moment was too big for him. That I watched Muschamp in that first season at Florida where I think they were 6-6 or 7-5, something like that. And this was coming out of the Urban Meyer years where they had plenty of players. And he was a raving lunatic on the sideline. Now, when he was a defensive coordinator, raving lunatic on the sideline works. You've all seen the video of him knocking the snot out of Marcus Spears coming off the field, right? The Georgia game, everybody was into it. Spears is coming off the field, all 6'4", 300 pounds of him, and Muschamp chucks him in the chest. And it's like, get fired up. And it worked. And when Will Muschamp's been a defensive coordinator, that kind of enthusiasm, that kind of emotion works. When you're a head coach, not so much. When you're a head coach, you can't let the moment dictate to you. If you're any good, you dictate to the moment. If I was a Denver Bronco fan today, I'd be terrified of what the future holds because the moment ate Nathaniel Hackett up last night. And this wasn't hard. Listen, if Russell Wilson throws an interception there, even if he throws an incompletion there, everybody understands. Nobody understands you letting the clock run down to 20 seconds because you think that the field goal is a high percentage play. Where's my analytics guys? Because I thought my analytics guys are going to, come out of the woodwork today. It's like, well, analytically, when you have an elephant hanging from a daisy on the side of a mountain, then the field goal is good 37.3% of the time if it's on a Monday, but not if it's on a Sunday. No, the analytics guys were nowhere to be found because there's no analytics to defend this. And oh, by the way, I wasn't on Denver last night. The pick we made on the show was Seattle in the under. Jimmy says, give me a pick on the game tonight. I said, all right, I'll give you a pick. I'll give you Seattle and the under. Seattle because the emotion of the game was going to be big, and I like the idea of getting the points. Denver should have covered with room to spare. I liked under because Geno Smith was quarterback in the Seahawks. And I don't think that Geno Smith is a what you would call elite level quarterback. He was last night. Last night, he looked like a Hall of Fame quarterback, especially in the first half. And then, I don't know. Something happened, and Nathaniel Hackett in his first ever NFL game lost his mind. Now, when I watched it in real time, I'm like, surely he's got to have an explanation for this. Then I heard the press conference. I'm like, this guy can't breathe. They got to get this guy some oxygen. He's not even in Denver. We can't even blame the altitude. Anyway, that was Monday Night Football. On the show today, Michael Cobble, WBRZ Channel 2. He talks LSU football. He was at the Brian Kelly press conference yesterday because he's at all the Brian Kelly press conferences. He covers LSU every day. We'll talk to Michael Cobble. Bottom of the hour, Dwayne Colucci from the South Point and the Rampart out in Las Vegas will review the weekend in college and pro football from a wagering standpoint. Mario Jerez, Taylor Sharp, I'm Charles Hannigriff, and this is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
Brought to you by Infinity of Baton Rouge. And the Infinity pre-owned lot with so many certified used vehicles there. Let me tell you something. This is where I have bought the last 3 vehicles that I have bought from this lot because of things that you're going to get with it, okay? The certified program leaves you 6 years of unlimited mileage on your warranty. It's a complimentary service vehicle every time you have to bring it in for service. You get a trial subscription to Sirius XM radio. You get emergency roadside assistance, and you get a 167-point inspection to ensure that your vehicle is of the highest quality. This is why I keep going back to Infinity of Baton Rouge. It's going to be a stress-free sales process, transparency in pricing. They're going to treat you like family. Sell and service all makes and models on the pre-owned lot, and there is plenty of inventory right now at Infinity of Baton Rouge.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jdacody.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
For Tuesday edition of Hunt and Hill, Glenn West from Go 247 on the Tigers, Sharif Ishak of WDSU on the Saints. Hunt and Hill 1 to 3 weekdays on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
By the way, you're allowed to throw the ball to wide receivers too. You know, you throw the backs and tight ends 21 times, and you throw the receivers 8, and the receivers have like more yards than the other ones because they're like really fast and stuff. Oh, and while I'm at it, you should really give the ball to Javonte Williams more than Melvin Gordon because he's bad. I'm not done with Hackett. Actually,
Charlie is on one.
I need to be done with Hackett. Man, if I was a Broncos fan today, I was on the right side, and I wasn't supposed to be on the right side. Michael Kyle with WBRZ. How are you?
I'm good. I'm better than you and your Denver Broncos.
I got no feeling for the Denver Broncos one way or the other. I do now. I feel for their fans because they got a coach that lost his mind on the sideline last night. But be that as it may,
it felt like less all over again there.
It had a little bit of a less feel to it. I brought up Muschamp, okay? Yeah. Because Muschamp's emotion got the best of him, I thought, when he was a head coach, especially at Florida. He was better at South Carolina, but especially at Florida. Less sometimes lost track of what was going on, okay? This guy meant to do this, okay? He look, we made our mark, okay?
I'll never forget the game against Alabama when Les kicked the field goal that he shouldn't and went for it when he shouldn't. It was like the exact opposite of what should have gone on. That's the flashbacks I had last night. And you're right, just the inability to make a decision and what are they going to do at the end of the game. That felt like.
Now, if you're going to do less flashbacks on mistakes, realize this is an hour show.
I would say okay? we'd be here all day.
we don't have enough time for that. All right, so give me your view. You've lived here a really, really long time. You worked here a really long time. So this past weekend, just kind of been getting everybody's perspective because everybody was somewhere different on the campus. You know, their view of the game. What was yours?
I mean, it was great. It was packed. I was surprised at how packed it was. I was surprised at how long it took me to get on campus and then how long it took me to get off campus. But once you got on campus, you just saw all the different fans doing their thing, and I think that's what everybody wanted out of that weekend, right? It was just a great experience. I think we all knew what the football was going to be, but the atmosphere, the fun, the excitement, the halftime, everything delivered, you know, and I think that was what was most important because, you know, Baton Rouge has a lot of faults, and it was good to see that we didn't have to live through any of them on Saturday night.
And you covered a lot of games as I have on the Southern University campus, okay? That it's every bit the happening for a Southern football. I'll never forget the first Southern football game I went out to the tailgate, and it's like, okay, it's about half the people, but it's every bit the party.
Oh, no doubt about it. Yeah, and as good of the food, if not better.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and just a lot of fun. And I think that's the thing that I wish most people that go to a game in Tiger Stadium would be able to go to a game in Mumford and see that it is a ton of fun. And maybe they don't even like the football as much as they do the fun. You know, it might be a little different there. I think you have your pockets of fans, but I think a lot of them go for the event and not necessarily the football. And I guess that's kind of what Tiger Stadium's developing into.
Okay, 2 games in for LSU. Give me a 2-game litmus test. What do you like? What do you not like?
I mean, I like that they addressed their problem areas, you know, and they actively went out there and tried to change them. I like the changes on the offensive line. I think I would have been disappointed if there wasn't some movement there. I like that they cleaned up special teams, obviously. I like that they're getting Kayshawn involved in the first play of the game. I mean, so all of the problem areas that we clearly identified in week one were at least addressed and taken steps forward in week two. There's still some things, I mean, that you're just not going to know about this football team until they face stiffer competition. I like the way the schedule sets up for them, that they get a little bit of a ratchet up each week. It's starting this week with Mississippi State. I liked that a lot of the backups played well when it was important to play well. Savion Jones, I was watching the game film again. He was just everywhere early in that ball game. I liked that, they have a little bit of depth there because they may need it. There's some things, that you want to see more of. You want to see, but it was hard to tell in this game, given the opponent, what exactly LSU is still capable of. So I'm eager to see this weekend.
You get to talk to players every week, okay? So you get a little bit of a feel for it, and I understand that they're guarded and they're trained up in interviews and all that stuff. But my experiences over the years that a lot of things will come out there where they'll let you know how they're feeling. So from the beginning of camp to now, do you rate the confidence level of the players that you've talked to?
I don't know that it's changed a lot. I feel that they really bought into what Brian Kelly and the staff was doing because of the minute detail that they bring to the equation, right? I mean, they're really focused on everything mattering. And I think that once the players understood that, understood they needed to fill out their wellness checks and, their check-ins and their meals and all those things. Once they realized why they were doing that, I think that was kind of a corner turned, and everyone was pushing forward with what needed to happen on this team. And all these guys want to excel individually as well as a team, right? But they certainly want to excel individually. And so I think once you realize that your coaching staff is doing in your best interest, what is in your best interest, then you have more of a buy-in. So I think the confidence is high. I just feel like everybody kind of knows where they're at on this team. This isn't a team full of superstars, right? And so I don't think they feel like they're going to compete for national championships. But I do think, everyone has their individual goals of getting to the league, representing themselves, putting the best tape out there possible, for their future. So I think there's a little bit of that. Not to say that it's a selfish team. I don't sense that at all. But I do feel like it's very much a work in progress team.
And balancing the record against that is what I've kind of talked up a little bit. There's not a lot of difference in my head between 6 wins, 7 wins, and 8 wins. Okay, right. I've been to the Outback Bowl. Listen, it's fine. Okay, but there's not a lot of difference between the Outback Bowl and the Texas Bowl. There really isn't. To me, this is a rebuilding year. I'd prefer to call it a building year. I don't even know if it's a rebuild. It's a building year because there's some talent on that team. There's some really terrific young talent on that team that needs to be developed. And so how do you weigh that against the, hey, listen, maybe this guy's not quite ready to play. Might cost a game. But in the long run, he's the better option.
Well, I think that's up to the coaches to determine and how they want to approach it. But you also don't want to sell your like seniors, juniors, out. Yeah. You want to have as good a year as possible. But I agree with you. I would disagree with to a point. I think there's a difference between a 6-win season and an 8-win season. I think you just have a lot more momentum, even if it's an 8-win season versus a 6-win season.
You've been talking to Hester, haven't you?
Nah, I feel that. I mean, the fan base is just doom and gloom. And I don't necessarily even feel like you need to win the bowl game, but I think when everybody looks back on a year, like, 8 wins is far better than 6 wins, obviously. But I feel like the momentum, kind of the belief that you're going into it. And one of the things, Charlie, that I don't think anyone's really talked about enough, but speaks to your point, is that Brian Kelly is setting the foundation, very much like you said. It is a building year, and they're starting at the concrete forms, right? Yeah. And so I always felt at the beginning of this year, he doesn't necessarily have to compromise his beliefs or really, I've got to do this. If the things with Kayshawn went south, which it didn't, luckily, but if things went south, like you could see a heels in the sand kind of moment there where the head coach has to say, look, we can't have this going forward. This can't be the tone that gets set. I'm glad to see everyone. And I think that's the thing that Kelly brings to the equation that maybe other coaches don't. He can get his arm around a Kayshawn Boutte and say, look, dude, you're going to be a millionaire. Let me tell you how to conduct yourself. Even with Nuss right now, there's a firmness maybe that he can exhibit with his backup quarterback, and an honesty. It's like, look, I don't necessarily need you right now. You need us a little bit more. Let's tighten it up. Let's get it together.
Let me explain what I meant, because without context, it sounds really dumb that there's no difference between a 6-win season and an 8-win season. I understand how ridiculous that sounds. let me give you an example. I would have been fine. Actually, would have preferred if he'd have put Malik Neighbors back as a punt returner again last night or last Saturday, and if he had put the Malik Neighbors out in the Mississippi State game, because I think Malik Neighbors has game-breaking ability, and I think that somewhere before he is done, Malik Neighbors is going to bust a punt if he gets a chance to go back there again, to bust a punt return for a touchdown that may win LSU a game somewhere in the 23 season or even the 24 season. So I'm willing to live with him fumbling a punt in a game that, okay, that hurt. It was really tough. But I'm going to stick with Malik Neighbors. I was actually a little disappointed he didn't put him back there again. Now, if he drops another one, okay, well, then But it's things like that. If a young offensive lineman goes out there and whiffs on a block, and it's a sack, and it's a sack fumble, and the fumble ends up costing you the game. But that guy's going to be an all-conference player when he's a junior or a senior, then I'm willing to make that swap. This year only.
Yeah.
This year only. I'm not willing to make that swap in Brian Kelly year 2 or and certainly not in year 3, and certainly not in year 5.
Sorry, I was waiting for it.
Certainly not in year 5.
The App State
but in year 1, I'm willing to make some concessions and some swaps that I wouldn't make in another year. So that's kind of the context of where I'm going.
I think he will get Malik back out there, just to use your point. And Will Campbell obviously is battling through those issues right now because he is the future. I think it depends on the position. Somewhere you have some luxury, somewhere you don't,
Yeah. How do you think Brian Kelly, we've all been around him a lot since, he got the job. How do you think he's adjusted to coaching this team in this league and in this city?
I think there's still some adjustments that he's making. I think he's softened a lot, at least from my expectations of what he was versus what he actually is. I mean, I've shared this story enough. Like when you cover him from the opposing sideline with bowl games, I kind of thought he was a jerk. I really did. I thought he was very standoffish and short with the media. And
you know why?
To some degree, he
was.
He may be, But now he's our jerk, I guess, right? But I mean, you're seeing a different side to him now. Maybe it's because you're seeing more of him. He trusts you a little bit more, and is giving you a little bit more. But he is no nonsense. I mean, from the radio show to just his interactions. My wife is like, why doesn't this guy show more emotion? He's on the sideline. He never shows any emotion. Everybody's all excited, and he's just standing there. I'm like, well, that's kind of his archetype, I guess. He is just, not to say above it all, but he feels like he has to be above it all to have a greater view on what is happening around him.
It's actually one of the things that I really like about him.
Right? It's why they went out and got him.
Because he was a jerk a lot of the time, back when he was in those early and middle years at Notre Dame. And when he said, we're going to be demanding without being demeaning, the first thing I thought of was, okay, here's a mind at work. He realizes he can't do it that way anymore. We saw him rip the skin off of people on the sidelines. He was screaming so loud at Notre Dame. That was 5 years ago. That was 7 years ago. You can't do that anymore. Yeah. You can't do that anymore. Everybody's out the door. I mean, the portal is overflowing if you pull that now. Even Saban understands that now. The coaches that can adjust, okay, he can adapt. He's not a jerk with the media. He was when he was at Notre Dame a lot of the time. He's not anymore. I mean, he's making $10 bets and, telling jokes. It's fine. He's adjusted. And with all of the different things that you have to manage when you manage a program of this size, you're going to get thrown a lot of curveballs. You're going to get thrown some things that you have to adjust on the fly. I want to see a mind at work, and he's got it. Yeah. He's got that. Now he's got to get some players and get some scheme it up and coach them up, and everything will be fine. You guys got a new show.
Yeah, we're on Tuesday nights. We're doing Sports Takeover. We're basically take over the 6:30 newscast, and it's one of your own, Matt Moscona, obviously here of ESPN Radio, and Shay Dixon of On3.com, the Bengal Tiger. They joined me for a half-hour sports talk. Basically, what it's been so far is recapping the LSU game and previewing the next one. We vow to talk some Saints, but most of the time, once you get Matt rolling, Shay rolling, they take up all their time, and it's over before you know it. But that's tonight, 6:30 on WBRZ Plus.
Well, for you, that's got to be a real easy show. You just let those two argue.
I just start a topic and they go. It's kind of like working with Jimmy, right?
Perfect. Absolutely. All right. So what time again?
6:30 tonight, WBRZ Plus.
All right. Very good. Michael Cobble, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Charlie.
Appreciate it. Dwayne Colucci, when we come back, we'll recap the weekend that was. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you. Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite has more taste and only 96 calories. It's Miller time.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance. This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for
Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. We'll talk quarterback play with Sean Salisbury. Peter Burns will join us to talk SEC, and the Saints turn the page to the Bucs. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Annegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome back to Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN. Join us now from the Rampart and the South Point, Mr. Dwayne Colucci. Hey, the horn made it to the midday show. It's pretty good. Colucci, how you doing, man?
Doing good, y'all. Thanks for having me on. It was a busy weekend, I'll be telling you that. We were packed at the Rampart Race at Sportsbook all day. The lines were past our bar. And Jimmy knows, he's been there before, how far the bar is actually from the betting windows. And that's, quite the footage. And we had great foot traffic, good mobile app action, good in-game. It was just a fun weekend.
I bet. And with the enthusiasm for not just the opening weekend in the NFL and week 2 in college football, but with the amount of favorites, ranked teams that went down, it was an unprecedented week in the NFL with the number of home underdogs. I would imagine that the betting public probably took it on the chin pretty good this weekend.
Yeah, they had a tough time, definitely, Charlie. It was rough. When you start to see some of these teams, that are a touchdown underdog win the game straight up, the New York Giants, case in point, it definitely helps us as bookmakers. Cincinnati, the AFC champions, went down to the Pittsburgh Steelers. That was quite the shock, in my opinion. And there were several other outcomes. A lot of people backing the Colts, despite their troubles in week 1 over the past 9 years. I think they were 1-9 going in against the spread, and definitely difficult to put your money on a team like that, but everybody was. Same thing with the San Francisco 49ers. I think a lot of people were hitching their star to Trey Lance, and it just didn't work out, and the weather didn't help when you fall behind.
In the college game, usually they're going to the window as fast as they can on Alabama. Not only did that not work this weekend, but you had 5 other teams in the top 20 lose outright this weekend, much less against the numbers. So probably wasn't anything comfortable for the betting public on the college front either.
Yeah, Alabama was struggling. You saw the A&M game. There were several upsets of top 20 teams. But, I do get a lot more underdog action, believe it or not, Charlie, on some of those college games. Some people will gamble, not against Alabama, case in point, definitely. And especially Alabama first half has become a big trend at my shop and the South Point, But, it was difficult all around. And just to knock everybody out then on Sunday, it makes it difficult. But as bookmakers, we were very happy at the turnout, very happy at the handle, and very happy at the win. So, definitely the Rampart will survive for another weekend, and we hope all the betting public survives as well, Joe.
Yeah, we figured as much. that Alabama first half was being put into some 401k portfolios for a while. I mean, it was like a bearer bond or something, but not as much of late. All right, I got to ask you about the game last night. I apologize to the Baton Rouge audience that I spent so much time on Broncos and Seahawks, but I can't get past what I saw last night. So you tell me what it was like in the sports book where the Broncos found way after way after way after way to keep the Seahawks in the game and the game under the total colluge, man. This should have been Broncos and over all day and all night, and Nathaniel Hackett managed to find half a dozen ways to screw that up.
Yeah, he called a terrible game, and he capped it off by going for that 64-yard field goal. I mean, who does that? But a lot of moans and groans in the book, obviously, Charlie. A lot of people were betting Denver, but we did have some substantial buyback. If you didn't notice, if you watched Twitter, Jimmy Vaccaro posted a big ticket that was purchased at the South Point. Then I had a guest at the Rampart who purchased a $5,000 money line as well as a $5,000 plus 6.5, I believe. So a lot of buyback on that game. Yeah, we still made a profit naturally, but it wasn't as big as we had thought it would be because the Seahawk money did come in late. But Russell Wilson, I mean, total credit. The guy's a class act. I mean, he played very well. He had 340 yards. You can't knock him. The 2 fumbles inside basically the 2-yard line are what killed Denver, and the turnovers and the special teams. You saw it all weekend, Charlie, how bad are special teams now. Cincinnati's kickers were horrible. You look at, Dallas, they just couldn't do anything right on any side of the ball. But special teams is a premium nowadays. And I don't think, I don't want to discredit it. You're trying a 64-yard field goal. It's a bad kicking is for losers, so it's a bad call by the coaching staff. But, it's definitely about kickers, punting, punt returns, and a lot of sloppy play throughout this weekend that played into the bookmakers' hands, and especially in that game. I don't think Rashad Penny got as many touches as, he was supposed to, but Geno Smith was impeccable. Who thought he was going to come out 14 for 14? It was a good game all around and very exciting in the sportsbook.
Yeah, I'm not going to criticize Russell Wilson for anything he did on the field. Now, I need an explanation on the aluminum foil tuxedo after the game. I'm not sure if he thought he was going to the Emmys or whatever, but what he did on the field was fine. Let's take a look ahead. I want to ask you about a couple of games on the college slate this weekend. It's not a great card overall this weekend, but there are a couple of games that I think these are interesting calls for the bookmakers and the public because they involve high-profile teams that have taken really significant losses. The first one is Oregon, who got completely embarrassed in week 1, and they're taking on a tough BYU team. I tell you what, that BYU-Baylor game was one of the hardest-hitting games I saw all weekend last Saturday. And then the other one, of course, is Texas A&M, losing a game to App State, and then they turn around and they welcome in a top 15 team in Miami. So I think that both of those games are interesting as far as what kind of buyback do you expect from the public on Oregon and A&M with those ugly losses on the ledger?
Yeah, Oregon, that was a dominating loss. And, we opened it at 3.5. Oregon is the favorite against BYU at the Rampart and South Point. We're staying at 3.5. We're getting good two-way action because I don't know if the public knows, like you said, what to particularly make of Oregon. That was just such a bad loss. So I'm anticipating some BYU money. We do get a lot of BYU action at the Rampart and South Point. They are a favorite team at the betting windows, especially when they are competitive. And when you see them in a field goal or just a little more or a little less, we're going to get some BYU handle, in my opinion. But thus far, it's good two-way action. Some parlays with Oregon, a little high on that side, but I think the BYU buyback will definitely be exceptional. Miami and Texas A&M, I don't know what to make of Texas A&M. Is Appalachian that good? They competed very well, against North Carolina in that big fourth quarter explosion where they had 60-some-odd points. Then you come out and you beat A&M. So I don't have a read on them if they're really that good, or is A&M, they just had a huge letdown. And that's another game that we opened at 5. None of the Sharps are pulling the trigger yet. It's staying at 5 at the Rampart and South Point. A very, very intriguing matchup. Miami coming on the road to play Texas A&M. We'll see how that pans out. I think we're going to get some A&M money in that game, to be honest with you, Charlie. I think they can bounce back because I think a lot of people do think that the loss, was against a somewhat quality team.
I'm dying to see what they do at quarterback because Max Johnson, I think, has to play this weekend, the former LSU quarterback for A&M. All right, so when they announced this prime deal for Thursday Night Football, at first I was a little bit bummed out. I'm like, man, this is going to be tough for people to go find where the games are. It's not going to be on in our favorite places, sports bars and things like that, restaurants. But the trade-off is that the schedule for Thursday Night Football is so much better. I mean, we knew we were going to get it in week 1 because that's the kickoff, okay? But, Dwayne, we got the best game in the NFL on Thursday Night Football this week, in my opinion.
Yes.
The Chargers and the Chiefs, man, this ought to be handled out the roof. Both of these teams looked great in week number 1. You got two of the most exciting quarterbacks in the NFL. This kind of Thursday night game, this is a lot better than Jacksonville, Cleveland. Okay, I can get behind Chargers and Chiefs on Thursday, and I think right now the Chiefs are about a 3.5 point favorite, basically a home field number against the Chargers.
Yeah, definitely. The Chargers are sharp. They're the hot team. They were able to hold off the Las Vegas Raiders, Charlie, in a hard-hitting matchup, whereas the Chiefs kind of coasted, and Mahomes looked great. I mean, he was using and utilizing all of his offensive weapons. He was throwing the ball very effectively, as was Justin Herbert, who is the quarterback of the future. A lot of people think this guy is the MVP as long as this team could stay healthy and he could lead them in the right direction. And beating the Chiefs would be the stepping stone to start getting this done, especially on the road. We have them at plus 170 on the money line in this Thursday matchup. And like you said, the Chiefs are a 3.5-point favorite at home, which really isn't that statement favorite like you've seen in the past where the Chiefs would be in this game 5-6 points. But the Chargers are definitely hungry. They have several weapons. Their defense, unbelievable. They were getting pressure on Carr. Adams had a great game, though, I must say, and Waller did too, but that was like late third quarter and fourth quarter. They really weren't in the game for more than the first half. So credit to the Chargers. Chiefs came out. They did what they had to. It was just a supreme blowout like we spoke about. This is going to be an awesome, awesome game. I'm anticipating some Charger money. I think a lot of people are sniffing them out now and realize beating the home team Las Vegas Raiders that we're going to get a little handle in Las Vegas on the Chargers in this Thursday matchup.
Last game, I'll ask you about Bucs and the Saints in the Superdome. New Orleans was lucky to win, but they had a huge comeback in the fourth quarter. They have beaten Tom Brady all 4 times in the regular season. Brady, of course, won the doggone playoff game. But the Buccaneers were smothered Dallas on Sunday night. They come into the Superdome this weekend as a 3-point favorite over New Orleans.
Yeah, that defense was really stifling. That was the credit for Tampa Bay. And Fournette was in better shape than everybody thought. So,
he really was.
He was amazing, Charlie. And now you're starting to see also Julio Jones could get involved and possibly, be not a replacement of Antonio Brown, but a guy with a superior skill set. And especially with Godwin going down, again, this kid is constantly hurt. They're going to have to rely on Jones a little more. The running game was awesome. Like you said, though, credit to Winston. Unbelievable comeback. I mean, even in Atlanta is so difficult to play in, and I was all over Atlanta in that game. I'll be honest with you. We were talking on Jimmy's show last week about how there's buzz where the Saints could possibly be an NFC contending team. Well, I'll tell you the truth, Charlie. They looked the part. I mean, they looked very good coming back in that game. And Winston was very regimented, didn't make mistakes, no interceptions. That's the key. And if this guy could definitely perform and not get injured, this could be a very, very difficult game, especially with that trend. Like you said, Buccaneers are at 3. Total is 46 going to New Orleans. A lot of pressure on Tom Brady to keep it going. But he is the GOAT, right, Charlie? I mean, he dominated Dallas. Dallas looked so bad. And they were lucky their defense held them in early because the turnovers were all inside the 30, inside the 20, and Brady just couldn't capitalize. But he did what he had to do when he had to.
Yeah, they kept them to field goals in that first half, but offensively they just couldn't do anything. I'm glad you brought up Julio Jones. That was one of the bigger surprises to me. The last 2, maybe even 3 years, Julio Jones has looked like an injured, past his prime, former superstar. He looked like the old Julio Jones on Sunday night. Now, maybe it's just for a week. Maybe he can't keep that up the whole season at his age with, the injury history that he's had. But Sunday night, he looked like the old Julio Jones. And, Kaluch, I got to tell you, no player have I rooted against more in my life than Julio Jones. The guy played for Alabama. He played for the Falcons. Now he plays for the Buccaneers. I have never rooted against a guy more times in my life than Julio Jones, but I recognize how great he is. Hey, we appreciate it. Going to look forward to talking with you on a regular basis at the South Point and the Rampart, keeping us up to date what's going on out with the betting public. Kaluch, you're the best, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Definitely, Charlie. Thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure to join you.
All right, we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll take your questions in the YouTube chat. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
Right in the heart of Denham Springs, right in the fabric of Denham Springs. It's Big Mike Sports Bar and Grill. Family-owned and kid-friendly. You can set up your entire football weekend around Big Mike's. If you're out in Denham Springs and you're at the football games late on Friday nights, you want to bring the kids in after the high school football game, everybody's hungry. Bring them into Big Mike's. It's kid-friendly. Hey, if you're going to a game and you don't have the kids with you and you want to go out, have a few adult beverages, get into the bar. There's live music there every single weekend. You'll be able to watch the college games all day on Saturday. The DJs in Big Mike's. And then on Sunday, happy hour drink prices for the Saints game and for the NFL ticket. Saints and the Bucs go at noon on Sunday, so you get those happy hour drink prices all afternoon long. Daily lunch specials, and the weekly happy hour is Monday through Saturday from 3 until 7. Right in the middle of Denham Springs. The institution, it's Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill. Big Mike's, we're kind of a big deal.
This week on DropBiscuit.com or wherever you listen to podcasts is our new series, Pops, the Louis Armstrong story. Pops is brought to you by New Orleans & Company. Check out NewOrleans.com and come visit New Orleans.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
They said I was small, weak, said my heart wasn't strong enough. But I showed them what heart looked like. Again and again and again. Mom got me the right care, the right doctors with Blue Cross coverage. Don't let people tell you who you are. Show them the right card, the right care.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off.
Jimmy out and Mike Delicano for the Tuesday evening edition of Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers. We're at Mike Anderson's on Lee, just off of Nicholson. That's Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers, 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, got some time for some questions. Brad wants to know if Sean Payton takes the Cowboys job, would he be able to coexist with Jerry Jones? Jones has hired some big-name coaches before. I mean, he brought Bill Parcells in there for crying out loud. So, yeah, I mean, he's going to throw ridiculous money at him, and he's going to let him do all the things he wants to do on the field. The difference is he's not going to ever relinquish control of that front office. And Sean Payton had significant input, probably veto input in the Saints front office for most of his tenure there. So on the field, yeah, I think he lets Payton do what he wants. Off the field, no, he's not going to let him participate in personnel decisions. He's never going to relinquish that. Champ wants to know if Justin Verlander gets back to the Astros soon, does he still have a chance to win the Cy Young Award? It's Dylan Cease's award to win right now. He had kind of looked human a little bit in the tail end of August, because in June and July, he was absolutely unhittable. I mean, he had an ERA of under 1 for 2 months. He had that long scoreless streak. Well, his last 2 starts, he's put up goose eggs over the last 15 innings. He's a betting favorite right now. He's minus 129. Verlander's not out of it. He's plus 100, but I think it's Cease's award to win right now. Ask Hanny, why is Taylor Sharp still scared of Twitter? Did I miss something?
No, I just don't have Twitter, and people give me crap for it.
Oh, okay.
Which is why I don't have one.
Hey, look, they do the same thing with me about Facebook, so we're fine. Ask Hanny, do you think Dave Aranda would be a good fit at Nebraska? I don't think it matters. Nebraska's not a better job than Baylor. Okay? I mean, it's just not. Take me back in the time machine to 1993 when I started in this market, and you say, hey, Baylor's a better job than Nebraska. In what universe? In the universe of 2022, Baylor's a much better job, actually. At this point, ask Hanny, where was the other one I was looking at? No, that was Taylor Sharp. Why are you scared of? You scared of Twitter? You're not scared of Twitter.
No, I just stay off.
You choose
of
not
it.
to participate.
Exactly.
A lot of times, that's a smart play.
Missing a lot of great memes.
Yeah, but the good ones, your friends will text to you, right?
True.
Like, this is the one you can't afford to miss. As long as you keep that up, Ask Handy, drink a choice on game day. LSU game days, it's usually this Powerade Zero because I'm trying to hydrate wherever I am. Saints game days, probably something a little stronger. For Taylor and Mario, I'm Charles Hager saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt and Hill. It's been Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045 ESPN to cast your